On a quiet weekday morning, a global technology company woke up to a problem that didn't look dramatic at first. No hackers, no firewalls breached, no system crash, just a $1 pricing decision sitting quietly inside a spreadsheet. By the end of the year, that single dollar would cost the company $190 million. This wasn't a small startup. This wasn't an amateur team. This was a well-funded, data-driven company with analysts, executives, and forecasting models. Everything about the business looked solid from the outside. But inside, a small assumption was working against them, silently, month after month. And the reason this mistake mattered so much isn't about business alone. It's about how human psychology interacts with numbers and how systems amplify tiny decisions into massive outcomes. What makes this story uncomfortable is this. The company did everything logically. They followed industry standards. They trusted the math. And yet, the math betrayed them. Not because it was wrong, but because it was incomplete. The most expensive part of this mistake wasn't the dollar. It was what that dollar trained customers to expect. Most breakdowns of this case focus on revenue charts and quarterly losses, but very few talk about the psychological mechanism that turned a tiny pricing choice into a financial disaster. That's what we're going to unpack today. Not as a business lesson, but as a human behavior lesson that affects companies, careers, and even personal finances.
The company was launching a new subscription-based service. Nothing unusual. The product was strong. The market demand was real. Competitors were charging anywhere between $9 and $15 per month. After weeks of discussion, the leadership team made a decision. They would price the service at $8 instead of $9, just $1 cheaper. The reasoning sounded flawless. $8 felt psychologically smaller than $9. It looked friendlier, more accessible, less corporate. The projections showed higher signups, and in the first few months, that's exactly what happened. User growth exploded. From the outside, it looked like a brilliant move. Here's what the spreadsheets didn't fully capture. That $1 difference didn't just affect revenue, it changed customer behavior. At $8, users treated the service as disposable, casual, easy to cancel, easy to ignore. At $9, users behaved differently. They paid more attention. They used the product more intentionally. They stayed longer. The company optimized for acquisition, but accidentally damaged retention. And retention is where real money lives. Let's slow this down with basic numbers. Assume 5 million users, $1 less per month over 12 months. That's already $60 million gone. But that's only the obvious part. Here's the hidden part. Lower engagement led to higher churn, more support costs, lower upsells, reduced lifetime value. When analysts finally recalculated everything, not monthly revenue, but customer lifetime value, the gap was shocking. Over multiple years, the total impact crossed $190 million, all from a single dollar.
This wasn't a math error. It was a psychology error. Humans don't evaluate prices logically. They evaluate them emotionally and relationally. That dollar didn't just change affordability. It changed perceived quality, commitment level, user behavior. The company assumed customers were rational, but customers aren't spreadsheets, they are patterns, and patterns respond to signals, even tiny ones. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Highly intelligent teams often miss these mistakes because they overtrust averages, they underweight behavior, they assume small numbers don't matter. But systems don't care about intentions, they magnify whatever you feed them. A small bias, repeated millions of times, becomes a massive outcome. This exact mistake shows up everywhere. In careers, choosing slightly easier paths that reduce long-term leverage. In personal finance, monthly payments that feel harmless but lock future income. In life, small compromises that slowly redefine your baseline. The danger isn't the size of the decision, it's the direction of it. The smartest people don't obsess over single numbers. They ask, what behavior does this encourage? What pattern does this create over time? Who does this version of me become in 5 years? They understand that systems punish shortcuts, even subtle ones. The $1 mistake wasn't reckless, it was reasonable. That's what makes it dangerous. Most costly decisions don't look dramatic when you make them. They look sensible, efficient, minor, until the system finishes doing what systems always do. They multiply. If this story made you think a little differently about small decisions and big systems, you can stay here. You can subscribe if you want. That's all for today.